I want to thank the gentleman from Pennsylvania for his leadership and for yielding time. Clearly, when you look at the problems with the National Flood Insurance Program, what brought us to this point were a number of things. One was that the program continued to lapse over and over again. Multiple times, Congress had passed many patches and Band-Aids. And ultimately, we would love to see a private marketplace where people could go buy flood insurance. In fact, federal government requires that people in many areas purchase flood insurance. And yet the only place you can go right now is NFIP. You can only go there to buy this, which is a requirement for people purchasing a home in many places. And so if you look at how the implementation by FEMA is adversely affecting millions of people across the country, specifically some examples we've seen in southeast Louisiana in my district point out these glaring inequalities that have to be fixed by Congress for this program to work properly. And in fact, many of the things that we all want to see to get to an actuarially sound program will be undermined if the FEMA implementation goes forward without the reforms that we've been building a bipartisan coalition to implement. And if you look at this, I'll give you a couple of examples, Mr. Speaker. In South Louisiana, Terrebonne and Lafourche parishes right on the front lines of the Gulf of Mexico. We're not talking about people who have multi-million-dollar vacation homes or anything like that. These are hard-working taxpayers, people that work in the oil field, helping produce American energy, people that are middle-class families that are being faced now with this rate shock. And in many cases, these are people who never flooded. We've got a levee district we went and brought some of the FEMA officials out to just a few months ago, the LaRose to Golden Meadow Hurricane Protection System in Lafourche Parish. And we went out there. This is a levee protection system that was built by local people with local money, not federal money. This wasn't a levee protection system that was built by the Corps of Engineers, which, by the way, the Corps' levees failed during Katrina. These folks down in Lafourche Parish, they built their own levees, and they never flooded in Hurricane Katrina. They never flooded in Hurricane Rita or Isaac. In fact, this levee protection system was so successful, many of these people never even filed a flood insurance claim, and yet FEMA, it completely ignores that levee protection system exists. And some of these people are going to be faced with $25,000 a year flood insurance premiums. Now, some people might say that's an actuarially sound rate. That's going to be a death sentence to those families who everybody recognizes. If you own a $200,000 house and then FEMA comes and says, okay, your annual premium for flood insurance is going to be $25,000 a year, you're literally forcing that person to walk away from their home. So you're going to lose the money they're already paying into the system. And again, in many cases, we're talking about people who never even flooded, people who paid their own tax dollars, not federal money, but local money, to build a flood protection system that works. It's worked for all of these storms, and yet FEMA is ignoring the fact that flood protection system even exists. And ironically, FEMA certified the core flood protection systems that failed. So these are the things that we're trying to address and fix, and again, working in a bipartisan way, because ultimately, we want to see a competitive system. We want to see a system that's actuarially sound. But anybody who thinks that these massive rate increases you would be sending to people who played by the rules and never filed a claim in many cases can pay a $15,000, $20,000 a year premium just for flood insurance when it's much more than they're even paying for their own home note. It's just fantasy. And so we're going to continue working to get this fixed, to put in place a system that is actuarially sound in a way where people can continue to play by the rules and continue to keep their homes and continue to be good, productive taxpayers and contribute to our society like they are today. So that's what we're going to continue working on. Again, I thank the gentleman from Pennsylvania for his leadership, and I yield back to him.